Well, I think the number one thing to do is make sure you exercise every day. And I'm a big fan of strength training. I think keeping your muscle mass up is very, very important. Next device I'd recommend is a smartwatch. And I wear four of these, you may see, and I have a ring, even my hearing aids sensors. So
Professor Snyder, thank you so much for making time for us to get today.
good.
It's wonderful to see you since the last summer. How have you been?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Regarding your research on Ageotypes, you've identified four distinct aging patterns in your research. Could you briefly explain what these four types are?
Sure. So what we did was we profiled people over time and we saw how they were changing. And we noticed that different biochemical pathways, if you will, were changing differently in different people. And so there were four we discovered at the time. We now know there are many more, but the four were kidney, liver, metabolic, so a combination of metabolic pathways were changing. There was also immune changes as well. So we called those Ageotypes, aging patterns. And people can either have one, two, or all four combinations of these. Different combinations exist in different people.
Which one is the most common in your cohort?
Well, we're sorting that out, but immune and metabolic are very common. And many people have all four, meaning they're changing in all four patterns. And again, I will emphasize there are others. We now have cardioagers, meaning their cardiovascular system is shifting, and others as well.
Is it more common to see a mix of multiple Ageotypes in one person?
It is actually, especially in today's world. I think people aren't as metabolically healthy as they should be. So that's a very common one. And I mentioned the immune one because I think more and more people are getting overweight, and that actually causes a lot of inflammation, a lot of immune issues. So it's common to have both of those.
Moving on to the topic of accelerated aging. In your recent study, you observed that human experience two major waves of accelerated aging around age 44 and again at 60. So, could you explain what molecular changes cause these spikes and why do this specific life stage trigger such a dramatic shift in the aging process?
Sure. So basically, we profile people very, very deeply. We measure as many molecules as possible over time. And what we discovered is that there's two big bursts of changes, as you say, one at 60, and that one we expected. It's well known that people lose muscle mass, their skin gets a little more wrinkled, and they have a lot of immune issues. That's why you get vaccinated as you hit your 60s. So that was known already, and we did see all of that. But on top of that, we discovered some other changes as well. There were some changes in cardiovascular function, kidney function, oxidative stress, all occurring as people hit their 60s. So that was one big burst. The other, as you point out, was at 44. That was not expected. I think anecdotally, a lot of people did have run into this. I myself had issues. We also saw changes in muscle mass then as well, but as well as lipid metabolism shifts we saw. And I think that's a big deal because people's fat distribution shifts as they hit their 40s. We also saw shifts in alcohol metabolism and caffeine metabolism. So we think, and what's causing this? I think in the one in your 60s, a big factor is your immune system decline is a big deal. And that is underlying many biological processes. And so it probably is affecting virtually everything. The one in the 40s is less clear. My guess is that people are not taking as good care of themselves as they go through their 30s. I think when you're young, people are very active. But I think as they hit their 30s, they're getting busier with their career and their family. So I think what happens is that they're not taking as good care of themselves. And my guess is that that's why you have a burst in the early 40s there. And so we predict that if people would take better care of themselves, exercise more and such, they may be able to push that burst off and maybe not have it at all.
It sounds like my story to prepare my first acceleration age of before.
It is actionable. That's the thing. The one in your 40s, if you know you're at risk for your lipids shifting, we keep an eye out for that and go on statins, for example. And you may also be a little more careful about how much you drink in the case of alcohol metabolism or coffee. Speaking for myself, I stopped drinking coffee after noon as I hit my 40s because I found I was hypersensitive. I used to keep me up at night. So now I don't have coffee after 12 noon.
You are a pioneer in personal data tracking. For beginners who wants to improve their health span, if they could track only three metrics from a wearable or basic lab test, which should they be?
Well, glucose number one. So the continuous glucose monitors are very, very powerful. And why do I say that? 11.6% of people in the US are diabetic. 38% are pre-diabetic, and most of them will become diabetic. And I know the numbers are going up in Asia as well. So it's very, very important we get this glucose problem under control. I really think it's worse than the pandemic, the diabetes endemic. And so I think if you wear one of these glucose monitors, you will actually really improve your eating because you'll see what different foods spike different people. And so some people spike to potatoes, some to pasta, some to rice. We're all different. And when you wear these glucose monitors, you'll see what spikes you and what doesn't. And then you simply eat the foods you like that don't spike you and avoid those that do. And if you do eat something that you know is going to spike you, do a brisk 15-minute walk, and that'll suppress that spike. These devices are very, very powerful for following your glucose dysregulation and training you to eat better and live healthier. Next device I'd recommend is a smartwatch, and I wear 4 of these. You may see, and I have a ring, even my hearing aids sensors. So I think those are, and we have them set up so they can actually tell when you're getting ill in advance of symptoms for respiratory viral infections and other conditions. So you can sometimes see your heart rate will jump up before you get symptoms, and that can be a sign of illness. So we think these are going to be very, very powerful as well. So I would start with those two. Getting yourself checked up in general is a really good idea, and don't wait too long because you want to know what your healthy baseline is. You want to detect shifts from that baseline.
You have refined how we measure aging over the past decade. Looking ahead, what do you believe will be the next big breakthrough or conceptual shift that will redefine aging science in the next 10 years?
Great question. There are many directions that one will go. I think we will be measuring ourselves a lot more than we do now. I think the shift will be to move from sick care to health care. So we would argue that most medicine today, at least as practiced in the US, is really sick care. We tend to treat people when they're ill, and we really need to emphasize keeping people healthy. And I think so measuring people with smartwatches, continuous glucose monitors and such will be very, very powerful for that. And then I think just emphasizing people to stay healthy. In the US, we don't have the financial incentives aligned properly, meaning nobody pays you to keep you healthy, and we've got to change that. I think you should get a discount on your insurance and your health plan if you actually wear a smartwatch and walk your 10,000 steps and do things that keep you healthy. So I think we need to incentivize people better to stay healthy so they can live long, healthy lives. It'll not only be good for them, but it'll be good economically because it'll be less taxing on the healthcare system.
Is there any progress on policy about your statement, giving away the people the smartwatches for very cheap price based on their insurance in the US?
The answer is unfortunately no. Nobody is really bringing these in. There's a lot of talk going on, with one exception. There's an insurance company called John Hancock that actually sells life insurance. And they give you points if you wear a smartwatch and do other healthy things. So they've actually picked up on this. And it's kind of an interesting model because from their perspective, their life insurance, the longer people live, the more money they make. So it's in their best interest to have people live long, healthy lives because they'll make more money that way. So they've got an incentive system set up for that. And I think we need more of those incentives as well. Other insurance companies and healthcare providers should all be doing some sort of system like this.
Finally, could you share a short message for the many people in Korea who are actively practicing wellness and longevity? We would love to hear it.
Sure. Well, I think the number one thing to do is make sure you exercise every day. And I'm a big fan of strength training. I think keeping your muscle mass up is very, very important. And one reason I say all this is when people lose their mobility, their health declines pretty rapidly. So I think it's important to always stay active. The other thing I'd say is to eat well. Try and avoid ultra-processed foods like cakes and muffins and cookies and things like that. Those are not good for you. They lead you to gain weight, which ultimately causes a lot of inflammation. The other thing that most people don't do enough is sleep enough. You're supposed to get 7 to 8 hours sleep a night, and most people here get much less. We have some studies showing people sleep longer, their glucose levels and other aspects of their health are improved. And lastly, this is probably underappreciated, but socialization is a big deal. The people who live in blue zones, these areas of the world where people live longer than average, they all have good social networks. So I'd recommend all four of those. You do exercise, eat well, sleep better, and have a good social network. And that will help you live a long, healthy life.
I mean, most of our followers are young female. So do you recommend more workout for muscle mass rather than the cardio?
Well, I think both are important. I think strength training and cardio are both important, but I wouldn't do one without the other. And definitely strength, if you have to choose one, actually, you can do strength training in a way, in a robust way that also does help your cardiovascular as well. Push yourself a little bit. Will turn out to be pretty good.
Thank you for your time.
Well, it's great to see you again. Good luck with your
Right.
podcast. Bye.
Bye.